Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. Come on up. Woo! So, I am not the MC this morning. We have a very capable MC, so I'm going to sit down in a few minutes. But I would like to know how many students that do not go to CSUMB are here. Raise your hand, please. Woo! Okay, we welcome you. Thank you, students. And how many students from CSUMB are here? All right. Thank you very much. We are so excited to have you. So my name is Paula Kerr. I'm the Director of Admissions. This is a part of our Super Sunday, Super Saturday initiative, and you will be hearing a lot of information by excellent people today, and we've got a really good program for you. So welcome, enjoy. Those of you in the back, feel free to sit up front. We're not going to bite. You can stay where you're at if you want to, but feel free to make sure you enjoy the food. We've got some professional headshots that you can take, as well as tabling you can do during the breaks, so you'll have time to do that, okay? Anyway, thank you so much for coming, and we welcome you, and we're looking forward to an excellent program.
Awesome. So thank you, Dr. Paula, for welcoming us on in. We really do appreciate everybody for coming in this morning and engaging with us. As far as who I am, my name is Antonio Robinson. Thank y'all. So I am one of our community directors for student housing and residential life, which means I have the privilege and the opportunity to work with a lot of our residential advisors. So the student leaders on campus who get to work and live in the residence halls and also make sure they're supporting our students. So I take great pride in the work that I do, and certainly I welcome any of the new students who hopefully will be living in our residence halls in the next few years. And we really look forward to seeing y'all engage and learn some more about the programs and the offerings and the opportunities that we have here. So with that, we are really excited to welcome everyone into Super Saturday. We're here for 2020. We are super excited and awesome. We have a lot of great presenters. We have a lot of great speakers. We also have a lot of great moments for you all to share your ideas and thoughts on how we can improve the town and gown relationship, improve the work that we do with our community here in Seaside. So with that, I'm really excited to bring forth some other folks who will be able to speak to some of the great things that we're going to do here in the community. So first up to the stage, we are going to ask Ms. Rosalind Charles, Governing Board Trustee for the Monterey Peninsula College, to come on up and speak and share with us.
Good morning. So, I am here to acknowledge a few people. I want to start by acknowledging the president of the university, Dr. Ochoa. The faculty and staff here at CSUMB that put this fine event together. So I want to ask students that are here, you don't have to stand, but we do want to know what schools you all are attending right now. So if you can kind of do like a popcorn style shout out of your school. Hartnell College. Hartnell. Okay, great. Awesome. Oh, more. CSUMB. The whole school, of course. Good job. Also, I want to acknowledge our faith-based community that's here today. There's a list here I can start with, and if you don't hear your church, just please shout it out. So, Bethel Baptist Church, Community Missionary Baptist Church, Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. You can acknowledge your church when you hear it. Okay. I'll say this one again. Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. Lighthouse Full Gospel, Friendship Baptist Church. Yes, Dr. Charlotte was over here. Greater Victory Temple, Church of God in Christ, Monterey Baptist District Association, Royal Priesthood in the house. City of Seaside Census. There you go. Seaside Voter Education Center, Ms. Helen Rucker. Okay, then they have me on here. I'm gonna just edit a little bit. Rosalind Green, Governing Board Trustee for Monterey Peninsula College. We have CPY in the house. City of Monterey, NAACP, the Village Project, our speaker, and then I'll stop there. Is there anyone else who we wish to acknowledge? House of Prayers. Mount Nebo is in the house. New Hope Baptist Church of Salinas. Well, thank you all for attending today. We're going to have a good time. So, let's get involved and enjoy this event. Thank you.
So next up to the stage, we will be welcoming Dr. Brian Corpening to be able to speak to us and give us some welcoming message. And with that, we also want to make sure that you all know, as our Associate Vice President for Inclusive Excellence and our Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. Corpening will be able to also make sure he gets us charged up for the event that is Super Saturday and the awesomeness that is yet to come. And then after that, I'll welcome you back up with some awesome other intros and speakers that we have.
First of all, you put some pressure on me, Antonio, so I'm about to do it. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good. Welcome, young students, whether you're in high school, community college, or a CSUMB, welcome to our Super Saturday. So, before he was assassinated, Malcolm X is quoted as saying, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for today." So those who are here, I want to thank you for being here as students, because it's important that you're here, especially in these times that we live in. Whether it's political or in terms of how technology is moving, it's important for you to be keyed in. It's important for you to have your eyes open, your ears open, and understand the nature of the way this earth is moving. So education is the key. I'm a product of that. My mom and dad both are high school graduates. I'm the first one in the family to have actually a college degree. And it's important that you understand the power of education, where it takes you. It is a passport. It's a passport to take you wherever you want to go. But you got to prepare for it now. So you got to be able to understand the trends that are happening in our world, to understand what type of majors you need to major in, and what type of career fields are really relevant now and will be relevant in the future. And be prepared for that. You also have to be keyed in what's happening politically in this country, so that you understand that your voice is heard and your voice is not denied. As you know, I want to acknowledge my dear mentor and sister, Helen Rucker, because people like her sacrifice for us to do. Not only do we honor her sacrifice, but we also build on that by being keyed into what's going on, to be prepared, and to take advantage of opportunities like today. So enjoy today, learn from it, and be ready for tomorrow, because it is your future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Corpening. Next up, we will have Dr. Eduardo Ochoa, President of CSUMB since the year 2012, and also prior and previously to that, the Assistant Secretary for Post-Secondary Education in the Obama administration. So with that, we want to make sure Dr. Ochoa comes up and provides us with some opening remarks. So thank you, Dr. Ochoa.
I was listening to Brian, and I just started thinking about an episode. I think it was a Star Trek movie. One of the Star Trek movies had a subtitle called "The Undiscovered Country," and it seems to me that The United States is the undiscovered country for many immigrants that come here with an idea of what America can be like for them. And when they come, they replenish the effort to build the more perfect union that President Obama has made reference to. And I think in many ways, all of us in the United States, whether we are immigrants or not, have an idea of what this country can be, and we work every day to try to make the reality come a little closer to that ideal. And education is one of the great tools that helps you do that. Understand the history, understand the potential that is there, and work to bring it about. Well, good morning, everybody. Pastors and members of our local community. On behalf of the California State University, I want to thank you for your support of our continued partnership. And thank you for attending CSUMB today. It's truly an honor to have you all join us here today. We're sharing this simple message with all of you. A college degree can unlock life-changing and transformative opportunities for you, your family, and your community. It's never too early to prepare for college or too late to return. So I'm going to just share 4 simple points at the time I'm up here. One is you can go to college. Whether you're the first in your family to do so, you're returning after some time away, or you're looking to transfer from a community college. We have outreach staff here today, some of them you've already seen. They're ready to talk to you and to provide resources about how the CSU can help you prepare for college, whatever your personal circumstances. You can afford to attend college as well. The CSU has a tremendous financial aid program that puts college within your reach. Almost 85% of CSU students receive some form of financial aid. And 75% of those financial aid recipients have the full cost of tuition covered by grants, scholarships, or waivers. This is a big part of the reason why most CSU graduates who earned their bachelor's degree have 0 college loan debt. 0. And as we've been saying, a college degree can transform your life and put you on the path towards success. Today, an estimated 2/3 of all job openings require a college degree. A college diploma has never been more important than today. And college graduates with a bachelor's degree typically earn $1 million more over their lifetimes than graduates with only a high school diploma. And they're far less likely to face unemployment as well. What this means is that students need a college degree today to be competitive in the workforce of tomorrow. And this trend is growing with each passing year. In a study released just last fall, all 23 CSU campuses ranked among the nation's best universities for providing students with upward social mobility. We are nationally recognized for helping low-income students achieve financial success. And finally, I want you to know that you can succeed in college, and we will partner with you to make that happen. CSU faculty, staff, students, and alumni are ready to help you every step of the way as you earn your college degree. The CSU's Graduation Initiative 2025 reflects our commitment to student success. Its ambitious goals aim to increase graduation rates for all CSU students while eliminating equity gaps between historically underserved students and their peers. I'm happy to share with you that the initiative is working. Completion rates are rising for students across the board, from every walk of life, and more students than ever are graduating from CSU campuses. And by the way, CSUMB is among the best performing campuses in terms of improving our graduation rates. Who is here a graduate of the CSU? Can I see a show of hands? Okay, good. So I ask you to be, those of you who are CSU graduates, CSUMB graduates, I ask you to be a voice of inspiration for the next generation in the same way someone may have inspired you. Congratulations and thank you, and please be seated, you already received it. In closing, I want to emphasize again that a college degree will help you put on the path to future success. But it also, even more importantly in my view, a college degree enriches your life and actually deepens your understanding of the human experience and simply makes your life, more rewarding, regardless of what you do. So, a college degree will help you put on the path to future success, number one. The CSU is here to partner with you, number two, not just today, but every day, to ensure that you're ready for and can afford college and you can earn your degree. And don't miss the opportunity to bring your students by to speak with our outreach staff after today's service. So to the parents, families, pastors, and community members that are here, we want to partner with you in the future success of your children and grandchildren. And we look forward to having an ongoing relationship with you, which we already do, but we want to deepen it. And we invite you to join us in October for our annual Discover CSUMB event, where you can spend the day with your families enjoying our campus and learning about our university. The CSU does not end at the boundaries of our campuses. We're all part of the same community, a community that thrives together. And together we can ensure that every student, regardless of their background, family income, or status, has the opportunity to earn a college degree. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you this morning. And please join us following the service so that we can answer the event, so we can answer any questions you might have about the CSU and provide you with additional resources that will show you that college is within your reach. Thank you.
All right, thank you there, President Joe. With that, we are now at that point in our session, that point in our presentation this morning, where we are going to bring to the stage our guest speaker. Our guest speaker, Ise Lyfe, is someone who we are so privileged, so happy, and so excited to make sure he can give you all the message that you all need to not only get charged up, but also to get that spirit refueled in an amazing way. So with that, I want to make sure you all can see on the paper before you that Ise is an artist, an author, an educator, and a justice advocate, but I want to go a bit deeper. I want to make sure we can read the bio, so that way you all can get a feel for the man who's going to come and speak to us this morning. So Ise Lyfe is an award. Let me try that again. He is an award recording artist, award-winning recording artist, conceptual artist, justice advocate, professor, and product developer from Oakland, California. So Bay Area, stand up. With that, he's now living in LA. In addition, he is one of the leading literary artists in America, with a broad fan base stemming from his appearances on several commercial market platforms. Also, his social and political commentary, which exists in the realms of published works, major networks, guest commentary, and also university lecturing, are widely viewed and used as educational tools. Born and raised in the socially historic city of Oakland, California, he now creates and works across the country as an advocate, and he also does for educational reform, arts education, and fair housing. He is the youngest recipient of the John George Social Justice Award, and also within his hometown of Oakland, California, his birthday was dedicated as Ise Lyfe Day in 2012. That is one of the highest honors acknowledging civic service, and he was just 29 years old when that occurred. With that, we want to make sure that folks also know in 2017 he collaborated with superstar actress and also activist Zendaya to write and produce The Basics for the Zendaya app, featuring bi-weekly news updates geared toward a 14 to 30-year-old age demographic. The Basics delivers 4-minute smartphone and social media-friendly news updates, so make sure y'all take your phones out, download the app, check it on out. That's what the goal is, that's why I'm plugging it. And with that, make sure that folks also know that app delivers the social media-friendly news and updates covering everything from politics and finance to social justice and environmental awareness. So with all of that success, Ise Lyfe is here with us today, and he is here to give you all some messages that will hopefully charge up and make sure that folks know just what CSUMB has to offer and just what you all can provide to this university when you do come. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to move this right away. I don't put this thing on the slide. I'm uncomfortable with that. I'm going to move that. And I'll get into the presentation in a second. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ise Lyfe. I'm from East Oakland, California. I am formerly Commissioner of Arts and Cultural Affairs in Oakland. I'm the Director of Life Productives, which is a product development firm. Blah, blah, blah. But really, I'm an advocate for social justice, believing that all people deserve adequate food, shelter, and clothing. And I put this presentation together for you all here. I want to thank the folks for inviting me to be here. I'm going to talk some mess. We're going to laugh together. Some of it will be really serious. And I put this with with folk in mind. I love us, and I know us. Watch this. God is good all the time. And all the time. God is good. Never met y'all. I know that. I was on a plane a while ago, and so I sat down next to an older white woman, and then a sister got on, pretty sister got on the plane and sat behind us, and we hear this noise behind us, and she goes, "Oh, I think she's coughing. There's something in her throat. I'll offer her a cough drop." But I knew she was behind us scratching her head. You know, I know us. I love us. Brothers, when we see each other, like we don't know each other, we see each other from across the room, we could be doing something, talking to somebody else, and look up and see brother, and we go, and that's it. And if we do this, and brother don't do this back, you know, there's a problem. Right? You know, I love us. And so I want to start with, everyone in the room, don't say it out loud. I want you to think of any number between 1 and 10. Don't say it out loud. And then, you know, do something crazy, it doesn't matter. Add 3. Now, add 2. Or do something crazy, it doesn't matter. Subtract the first number you picked. Cool? We together? Okay, cool. Do you want to add or subtract next? Okay, add. Cool. Add 2. Cool? Think really hard. Hold on. Think what you have left over. Again, I know that. So some folks are impressed. Some folks are wasn't nothing. And some folks are like, oh, what is this? This is the voodoo. What is it? I know that. I saw you. Can I tell you how I did it? Cool? So, not math. That's you. That's a non-gender formed stick figure I got in trouble at another school. That's you. And then I told you to add 3. And then I said, add 2. And then what did I say?
Subtract 5.
I said, subtract the first number you picked. Remove yourself from the situation. So now I know, brother, the whole room holding 5. Then the hustling starts. Do you want to add or subtract? I know us. It's early. Adding is easier. Y'all can say add. So I say add 2 again. 3 plus 2 plus 2 equals 7. This is a mathematical form to say that if I remove you from a situation, I can make you whatever I want to make you. Okay. So how does this connect to students on a campus? How does this connect to communities? How does this connect to faculty? How does it connect to our connectivity, our ability to connect with one another? Well, it begins with how we see each other in the first place. Who do you believe you are? Who's the author of your perception? Kendrick Lamar says, you vandalized my perception. He's accusing, rightfully, society of vandalizing the way that we see one another. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today, and that's how we got to 7. Oh, I wish we had more time. I'm going to skip that for time's sake. No, it's okay. For young people tell you all the time, you are the future. I don't agree. You the right now. You the right now. It's crazy. I think about, if you 18, you born in 2002. Damn. A whole grown functioning person born after Tupac died. clue to the mystery of life around what your purpose is or what you should be doing might be for you to look up any of us, no matter how recently or long ago we were born. What was going on in the world the day you were born? And that might be a clue into your purpose and why you arrived here in the world. And I'm going to talk through that a little bit. If we go back to the early 1920s in this country, women are rising up and saying, we deserve the right to vote. Of course, famously, 30 years later, the beginning of a civil rights movement begins. Simultaneously and in close proximity to the civil rights movement, there's an American Indian movement happening at the same time. Happening at the same time and next to each other. Happening also at the same time and right next to each other is a women's rights and feminist movement. Happening at the same time in close proximity. Not far from here emerges at the same time in close proximity the United Farm Workers movement. At the same time in close proximity is an environmental movement. At the same time in close proximity is an anti-war movement. People who stood up into the war in Vietnam, this is the first time in history where people, these are veterans, who fought in the Vietnam War. People went to war, came back from the war, said stop that war. An incredible time in history. Happening in close proximity to that at the same time is a brown power movement. And also happening at the same time and in close proximity to that was a black power movement. And the Black Power movement was particularly fascinating because though it was a Black Power movement that was clearly, or as we say now, unapologetically black, it left room and a space of love for all other movements and influenced and empowered those movements. What were those people protesting for? And what were they doing in unity? They woke up to a world, and by the time they were 16 years old, all had a call to action that was about developing a world that was better, not just for them, but for the world that was coming. Of course, we all know, y'all hear all of you, you've been hearing your whole life about Dr. King and his assassination. I don't want to talk about that, not that it's not important, but I want you, all of us, particularly young people, to consider something else. Who is that? That's Dr. King at 9 years old. Many of us haven't seen this picture. Look at this picture. Dr. King was born in the same year that the Great Depression started in this country. My grandpa used to say, if white folks got a cold, black folks got pneumonia. So if it was the Great Depression for white America, it was the Great Psychosis for black people. And he would grow up to become a phenomenal leader. This is an organization in Lotus County in Alabama in 1958 that was going out and trying to encourage people to go out and vote. What I want to be clear about is that in the late 1950s in Alabama in wooden shacks, our folks were going out to get people to register to vote. But if you're a part of any kind of movement or engaging people right now around voting, and you basically have the same method and same outreach that folks had in a wooden shack in Alabama in 1958, it's time for us to be innovative, which is another thing that I want to talk about today. About what does our new, renewed, innovative approach to our struggle look like? Dr. King is killed in 1968. 1980, Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. Be really clear about something. 68 and 1980, that sounds like a long time. That's only 12 years. From 1968 to 1980 is 12 years. And in 12 years, something happens that we never talk about when we talk about black people. We talk about civil rights and the history of slavery in this country when we talk about black folks. But we never talk about the crack epidemic in this country. Other than the transatlantic slave trade, nothing was more devastating to black people than the crack epidemic. A deliberate chemical warfare attack on our people that everyone in this room is impacted by in some way. But at the same time, like our cool civil rights movements and all of our outreach, our next resistance would be cultural. Hip-hop emerges in the late 70s and early 80s. It's like the jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Broken glass everywhere. And brothers and sisters are talking about what they see. I can't take the smell, I can't take the noise, got to move out, I guess I got no choice. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. What is he saying? Don't push me, I'm close to the edge. He's talking about mental health. And then a bold brother comes out, 17 years old. Ice Cube goes, F the police coming straight from the underground. A young brother got it bad because I'm proud. And not the other color, so police think they have the authority to kill a minority. Forget that, I ain't the one. Or a punk police with a badge and a gun to be beaten on or thrown in jail. We could go toe to toe in the middle of a cell. Messing with me because I'm a teenager with a little bit of gold and a pager, searching my car, looking for the product, thinking every brother is selling narcotics. This brother wrote a Black Lives Matter verse when he was 17 in 1986. And then, in the 90s, and in the early 90s, Rodney King is beat up on videotape. He's brutalized. He's hit over 40 times. Police officers kick him while he's on the ground. They punch him. They swell his face up. The officers that are beating him to death. The attempted murder that several officers inflict on him while other police officers are watching, they don't know that it's somebody in the cut recording the whole thing. And black folks, coming from this long extension of all of the stuff that we've been through that I'm showing you, we go for the first time. It's not like now where every moment somebody's blowing us away on videotape or brutalizing us and we capturing them. So if you're born in 98, 99, 2000, 2001, I want you to appreciate what I'm about to tell you. It's really important that we understand. Black folks that we knew, you know, it's only the rest of the country that acts shocked when we get brutalized. We understand what goes on with us. We understand how we're treated. But this was the first time on videotape it was caught. And we knew, oh, we got him now. There's no way these officers are going to get away with this. No way. No cell phone technology, no hashtags, no social media. We had never experienced this. The country hadn't experienced this. Those officers sat in the courtroom. It's on video that they were beating this man down. They didn't deny it. The jury goes, not guilty. Wow.
Shame.
And this was heartbreaking to our people, and then young people, y'all go. This is where you come into existence and you're sent here from the stars. So when you're talking about going to college or building your future, it's a deep spiritual question. I don't believe spirits have a race origin. Yeah. So look at the back of your head and go, why did God put me in this experience? What do these people need? And if you white, and you look at the back of your white hand, you go, damn, what do these people need? Because it's always put on us. Yeah. Slavery is whiteism. How we survived it is blackism. And it's important that all of us look at yourself and go, why did I come like this? We are undeniable and beautiful people. I'm a professor. A lot of times, my work starts like this. Group of strangers, I don't know them. I walk into class at the university, and the students are sitting there, and I walk in, they all start mumbling, I don't know what they're saying. I ignore it, set up my computer. I used to teach a magnet science, and I look at my roll sheet one day, I see this name, and I said, Lachey? Lachey? And since we go here, I go, okay. I'm thinking stuff in my mind, it's okay. A few years later, I'm at Target, I hear, Mr. Rice! And I turn around, and Lachey probably was like 13 years old in science class. She's 19 years old, so she run up and jump on me and give me a hug. And I go, hey, how are you, baby? And I look over her shoulder, and her mom is like, who is this grown man my daughter jumping? I put her down, you know, and I go and introduce myself. She goes, oh yeah, she used to talk about you all the time. And we talked, I said, okay, I gotta go, it's good seeing you, Lachey. She said, what you call my baby? I said, Lachey. She said, her name is Ladasha. What's your son's name? Topostrophe? But no, hold on. I want to give a shout out to Ladasha's mama. Ladasha's mama uniquely redefined her baby. I'm here to keep it real with y'all. I was going to a brunch on Sunday. I get out the car. The brunch I go to was like a brunch place, you know. And next door is a waffle house on Sunday. So I'm going to the brunch place. You know, they got somebody in outside of Pasadena. You know, they got I hear the acoustic guitar going, and then it's a waffle place across the street, and it's all of us pulling up. And sister get off the car, hey girl. And other sister go, hey girl. I like your dress. Other sister say, oh, you like this dress? She said, yeah, I like this dress. You know I got it on a discount. Oh, yeah, you know I love a discount. Oh, you do love a discount. And in my wet ass mind, like, dang, you know how someone's really kind of cringe at it. And I go inside. I have my little brunch where people go, hello. I say, hi. Where are you sitting? I sit down. And we discuss the day, having, you know, way different from the Waffle House brunch. Later on, I go, brother, don't laugh at me. I was like, I need a manicure. I go get a manicure. I encourage you to get a manicure. I see you look. Go get a manicure. I walk in there, wonderful Vietnamese sisters doing nails. And they're yelling in Vietnamese at each other the same way the sisters was. And they're probably saying the same thing. I like your sweater. I like your sweater too. We have this thing about how we accept and embrace who we are. White folks don't be laughing at us. I'm at Dr. Wet Farts. You ain't gonna play us like we the only ones with strange names. I see it, I know it. Wet farts. Dead ass serious too. Y'all okay? I was working with Southeast Asian students, and I was going in their homes doing this ethnography. And a beautiful family, the Tams here. And every time you go to the house, folks, it's cooking. Just like black folks. Cooking, that's a big thing, cooking. You hungry? You go, no. What your mom say? Eat this. So everywhere I go, it's like, man, they're making food. What I noticed about the old people, though, is that the older first house, they're in the kitchen, and when they close the drawers, they're closing the drawers slow. Closing the cabinets slow. I see it at the second house, and it's weird because everybody moving, there's a bunch of people in the house, and then you just see, like the Matrix, you see an older woman just closing. At the third house I was coming to, I asked. I said, look, why do they close the cabinet so slow? He's eating the water. The water. In these Vietnamese and Southeast Asian households, the older people close the cabinet slow because of the trauma that they've been through in the war. The sound of closing the cabinet fast or dropping something will startle someone. Their daily conduct considers the war that they've been through.
Wow.
Black folks have been through a devastating war.
Yes.
And there's no way to talk about engaging our students. The brothers here, are you in a fraternity? Or are you in an organization? And so when I saw you, I'm familiar, I know the signs, so I know the tribe you're coming from, and I respect it. And what I respect also that we know is whenever you're organizing or connecting with our folks, it's important to understand where we're coming from. You might want to hold somebody accountable. You know, brother, you need to do da-da-da-da-da-da. But if you're not conscious of the fact that we go through a war, that a 16-year-old boy might not be normal, not be familiar with another man telling him da-da-da-da-da-da-da. If you're not considering that war, you're not equipped for leadership. If you telling a young woman, you know, don't be acting like that. You need to control yourself. You need to be on time to class. And you don't know that she's splitting, based on the war, the financial aid check that she gets with her studies and helping her brother back at home. And she's never been to a campus like this. You're not considering the war that we've been through. It's important that we acknowledge and understand when we look at ourselves through the popular lens and culture. That we have an important social critique. On the left here is the Black Panther film. Black Panther grosses over $1 billion worldwide. The same year, Beyonce performed at Coachella, 458,000 simultaneous viewers in the entire festival with 41 million viewers from around the world. The most watched live stream performance of all time. When you start seeing these numbers, it's not as though only black people look at that. These high numbers around the world is the global world looking at us. And they talk about it like that's new. But consider the war. They'll teach you in a basic 10th grade math class, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The Pythagorean theorem. Pythagoras was a Greek, and they teach you that he figured out, he was the first one to figure out the area of a right triangle. But I know of people who existed 5,000 years before the Greek, who were building something called pyramids out of triangles. So we've always been watched by the world. We've always influenced the world. The Black Panther film comes out and gives some sort of license for us to step up and celebrate ourselves. And black folks were juiced about this film. Took this a Crenshaw. But when you're watching a Black Panther film, Black Panther is made by Disney. It's a Marvel film. It's a Disney film. Disney has 2% black employees globally. We're not talking about the Black Panther Party for self-defense. We're talking about the Black Panther movie. Kaepernick makes a bold, you know, sometimes it's hard just to do something different in front of 10 people you know. Yeah. Think about the courage. I chose this picture because he's making this statement on a day where there is an American military process going on the field, he makes this stance. He develops a I Know Your Rights campaign. And then Nike gives him this deal for an untold amount, believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. But Nike don't sacrifice a position for black people to work in. Not one. You know, every black person, black man, woman playing basketball, football, weird brothers playing lacrosse, all the stuff Nike's on. And somehow, in all of that, they don't know one brother or sister that comes out of university worth hiring to an executive board.
Okay, now, say that.
Nike's Colin Kaepernick sparked a boycott and earned $6 billion for Nike. This came out 20 days after the announcement.
Wow.
Proud of Beyonce. That who owns the Coachella Festival, though. Reports surfaced that Anshaw's, whose mission some would say run counter to the spirit of freedom and inclusiveness embodied in events like Coachella. He is an associate of the fiercely conservative Koch brothers, and many of his financial commitments have been purely partisan. Along with his financing, he donated just $1 million to Republican causes, with $500,000 directed to Senate Leadership Fund. Staunch Trump supporter, but it looked like that.
Come on, somebody.
So you see this, but it's really this.
Wow. Masters. Still let them be up there.
So, when you're going to university, when you're being asked to come to school, what position do you take in the world? So Ise, what is the solution? I'm going to talk about that, but I want to talk about a problem that we don't talk about, and the problem is that black people can be paid with feelings and emotions. This generation, what we're so proud of about you is that you're not going to fall for the idea that you can say that you're about something. I've been teaching in universities a long time. When I was at UC Berkeley is in the middle of Oakland, Richmond, and San Francisco. The black student population was 700 out of 30,000. 40 brothers on the football team, 20 on the basketball team, 15 on the track team, 2 brothers play lacrosse, 8 Dominicans play soccer. That's almost all the black people. But when you're getting approached by them to go to the school, the diversity packet, it's a black man and a Filipino woman high-fiving, 2 Latina sisters doing hula hoops in the middle of the field. That's not what it looked like. So part of this student generation has to be, yo, cool, appreciate the pamphlet. Because before, they wouldn't even put us on the pamphlet. And I want to talk to everybody in here under 30 right now. I travel this country and this world. And everywhere I go, it's a sister who's over 50. It's a black woman over 50, or a Latino woman over 50. And she's doing everything she can to beg, plead, and figure out how to get us on the campus. And young people, we ain't nothing if that sister gotta chase us. It's not easy. She's the only one in that meeting that look like us, fighting for a budget to have you on the campus. The Chicano sister is the only one in that meeting, standing up, hoping that when they do student orientation, they'll do it in bilingual language so your grandma will understand what's going on. She's the only one in the meeting. And you whack, you so cool that we gotta entertain you in order for you to come to receive the love. That shouldn't be a part of the fight. When were you born? Every time one of our lives are taken, you turn on the TV, they got us auditioning for our humanity. Well, why was he walking on the freeway? Why was it weed in her system? We found a MySpace picture from 15 years ago when people used MySpace of him flipping off the camera. What was going on with him? We already auditioning for our humanity. Meanwhile, they have police funerals for dogs, no questions. They'll go, what did the dog eat that morning? Does the dog shave? Taxpayer, I pay tax. I don't get a tax return, I pay it. And tax dollars pay for funerals for dogs, but we die on videotape and they're not tripping. And you cannot be a whack young person that while we auditioning for our humanity, it's like, yeah, you know, she said I need to come look at the school, but if it don't look cool, if it don't look fun, I'm not going, we bugging. And I love you, and I'm saying that from a space of love. Get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. You know what I hear all the time in my class? I'll be teaching in class, and it's always a young person in class that says stuff that makes people uncomfortable. I was teaching in class, mostly Latino and black students in the class, 3 young white people in the class. But all the students were awesome, all of them, all the races, all awesome. But one of the younger dudes, he said, the young white dude, he goes, you know, I just think that if Latinos are so proud of being Mexican, then they shouldn't come across the border, they should stay there and build up their country. And 2 of the black students in the class, one Latino, goes, I can't. And walk out the class. I hear I can't all the time. Yes, you can. Goddamn, the slogan is he said, puede. Yeah, you can. You ain't never black people. I can't. No. And let me tell you something else. You still paying for that class you walked out of. Are we so whack that we can't a conversation? You come from a people that was putting ropes around our necks, hanging us from trees. And you can't, because somebody said something you don't like. And to the older people, you meet the student a little challenging. I can't. What you talking about? We have to. It's not a choice. We have to be able to. The world is standing up and speaking up. There's so much beauty out there. This is a group called the ABC Coalition here in California. I go and meet with these young people. These are thousands of young black people who are organized. This ain't something we hoping will happen. This is happening right now. It's beauty amongst our people. But our heroes will have to be our everyday people. I'm turning on television and be like, something crazy just went on. There's a tragedy in the black community. Let's ask P. Diddy what he thinks. Sure what P. Diddy thinks. You think there's a massive earthquake in China and they're like, get Jackie Chan on the phone. We are our heroes. And we have to love and accept one another in that way. I want to encourage the 3 A's when we have difficulties amongst our communities and connectivity. And I'm about to name some difficulties. You are a young black woman on a high school campus or a college campus, and you don't like this other young woman on the campus, or whatever. Let me tell you something. Your beef is about nothing, because we have it. You are a black faculty member, and you are frustrated that other black faculty members are not joining a cause that you care about. Lastly, you are a black power conscious, woke, young black person, and is somebody on the campus that doesn't want to hear about, they don't want to hear about that black stuff or any of that. So let's just put those beefs on the table. Not saying that it happens here, of course it does. Never met y'all, but let's talk about it. And one more. you're a black faculty and a Latino faculty, or you're a black student and a Latino student, and the white university that was built here 100 years ago that never imagined you would ever be here gives you a little pot of money that y'all fight politely, but you fight. And your grandpa taught you as a faculty member before he ever would imagine as a faculty member something funny about black people. You Latino, but you were told bad stuff about black people. And black person, your grandpa taught you some weird stuff about Latino people. And in the meetings, you pretended like that in your mind. So, not that happens here, but let's say this. I want us to be concerned with the 3 A's. First of all, ally. You don't like that sister, you don't like that brother, so what about y'all is the same? First of all, the reason you noticed them and paid attention to them enough to not like them is because they like you. That's why. That's why. That's why you notice them. Because you know them and you're connected with them. What do y'all have in common? And if you find yourself beefing about something as big as Martin and Malcolm were arguing about, then okay, have a debate. But if it's about your hair, what somebody said at a party, the different Greek organizations you're connected to, how conscious you are versus how conscious somebody else is, I encourage you to be seeking opportunities to be an ally. Next up, admit. Men of all races, we need to work on this. Admitting that it's something that goes on connected with sexism and gender prejudice. You know why the white world is so afraid to admit what they've done to black and brown people? Because they think in their mind, if we admit it, they're going to murder us. But what's ridiculous about this? We've been around all this time. And we don't kill y'all. And you think we be sitting there, first of all, you think we got all the guns and the knives and the power shit away, that, you know, the day white folks admit it, they're killing them. We ain't got a secret meeting like that? Admit it. Now, men, listen to me. You know why we're going to admit sexism? Why we're going to admit our own personal flaws and injustices upon women? Because we think if we admit it, they're going to kill us. But what's so dumb about that is every sister you know loves you.
Speak the truth.
That under the pain and the fighting and all of that is a commitment. Did your mama and grandmama kill you? Did they kill your daddy? So it's not about your fear or something about you or the world. It's the fear of being held accountable. And in that accountability is a deep love, and across the board, we need to be willing to atone.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's a faculty issue, and you know in 2005 you stepped on somebody or didn't say something right, or you fought over funding, or you did something petty, be willing not only to acknowledge it and apologize it, but take love in the desire to atone for it. The opportunity to connect to and build on and be connected to something better. That's important. Lastly, as a wrap up, this is a picture off the shore of New York where biologists are figuring out how to preserve the landscape by planting new mussels and new sea life under the sea. This is what the world really cares. The world is not caught up in your hashtag or your feeling. And the world intends on handing black people a broom. Whoa. What am I telling you? That when I'm in Africa and they're building railroads in Africa, hotels in Africa, when I'm in East LA, when I'm in South LA, when I'm in West Oakland, and they building new transit, new homes, new technology. I was just giving a talk at Twitter, they're like, we can't figure out our diversity here at Twitter. Wait a minute. So you can figure out how to make a car drive by itself. But you don't know how to hire a Filipino? the Chinese government comes to, and business developers, they come to Africa, and they build a whole hotel, they bring in 40 Chinese architects, 30 Chinese construction firms, 100 comfort women, and hand the African a broom. Latina brothers and sisters, what are they doing to your communities where you come from? You deal with some hipster coming in your neighborhood, building everything around your neighborhood, and for now they'll buy tacos from you. And then when they get the capital, they're going to buy the restaurant, and Todd is going to own Maria's Taqueria. The world intends on handing us a broom. I went to the global, I own and operate a product development firm with a $15 million evaluation. I'm 37 years old. My point is that it's not a lot of young black people in the global community development conversation. And when I walk in there, all the time, hi, can you tell me where the bathroom is? And I go, no, I haven't had to use the bathroom yet. And I go into what I'm doing. And there's nothing wrong with being staff, I'm just not the staff. But I'm telling you, this slide is taken from the summit. They're building the Jetsons right now. And if you're trying to get somebody to go to college, you need to be talking to them about this. And if you're a student, you need to be thinking about how whatever you're interested to connect to the world, because the world intends on having us a broom. Remember the war that we've been through, and I want to end with a story. About togetherness.
Yeah.
A long time ago, there was a student of a master, a spiritual master. And the student would come to the spiritual master over and over again and say, oh my God, I'm down on my luck. No one loves me. No one cares about me. Real Eeyore off Winnie the Pooh type of cat. Just no. And so the spiritual teacher would listen, and the teacher said, I want you to go find a pound of salt and bring it to me. And the student thought it was strange, but the student respected the master, so the student said, okay. And he went to go find a pound of salt. And he found a pound of salt, he came back to the spiritual master, and she said, take a fistful of the salt. He thought that was strange, but he respected her, so he took a fistful of the salt, and she said, put it in the glass. And he put it in the glass, water. She said, now drink the water. What? But he respected her, so he drank it. She said, how's it taste? Oh, it's salty, it's bitter, it's nasty. She said, come with me. And she took him out to the lake. She said, take a fistful of salt. He took it. She said, throw it in the lake. Threw it in the lake. She said, now drink from the lake. And he drank from the lake. She said, how's it taste? She said, it tastes like the lake. She said, be the lake. It's the same amount of pain, the same amount of struggle that we're talking about. And when it's just you and your little department, or your little life, or your little struggle, that's bitter. But when we come together as a broader lake, those issues dissolve. It doesn't impact the We live in a time where folks are being divided, where it's not even taboo to say you gotta pick a side. And the destiny for the truly eternal are gonna be those of us that reject that and come together and move forward. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you all. So we are going to keep things moving right along. Next up in our program for today, we want to make sure we can bring up our CSUMB gospel choir so that way they can keep our spirits uplifted, so that way they can show us their skill sets, and we will go from there. So CSUMB gospel choir, y'all can come on up. We will introduce your selections. So the first selection this morning will be Lift Every Voice and Sing. So if folks are able and you wouldn't mind, please stand on up and please feel free to sing along. The green sheets in front of you do have the lyrics, and feel free to enjoy and also engage with our CSUMB gospel choir.
Hello, for those of you who do not know, we are the CSUMB Gospel Choir, and the next song we will be singing is Jesus Will by Nina Wilson.
Oh,
Thank you, thank you. So yet again, that was Professor Carlos Tottress in our CSUMB Gospel Choir. If we can get him one more round of applause, everyone, thank you. Thank y'all. So with that, we do want to make sure folks know we do have your break coming up. However, we have one more awesome introduction from Amy Sanchez-Toral, who will be coming to speak to us on behalf of EOP and some of the awesome programs within our student support services. So with that, Amy, if you can let us know what's going on.
Good morning, everybody. It's hard to top this. Admissions, I don't know why you put me right after a fabulous speaker and a beautiful choir. It's hard to top this, but welcome everybody. My name is Ise Lyfe, and I am the Associate Director for the Educational Opportunity Program, also known as EOP. And a little bit about myself, I am local. I was born in Salinas and raised in Castroville. So I'm first generation college student. Very proud of that. Thank you. So I grew up in Castroville. My parents migrated from Mexico around the mid-60s. So they went up to the 6th grade. And just growing up, my dad, he pretty much spent all his life working in the fields. He worked in the archer fields in Castroville, and my mom was that stay-at-home mom. So for me, it was very important to continue on to college and get a job. And my dad would always tell us, you don't want to be working in the fields. You want to have a career, money, of course, a home and all that good stuff that comes. However, my experience in high school was not very good. So unfortunately, I had a counselor who told me that college was not for me. For me to go to a four-year university would probably be impossible because my parents don't have the funds to pay for college, which is true. If you're a field worker, you have enough to buy food and clothing and pay rent. So it kind of just stuck in my head, and I didn't really want to believe it. But fortunately, I was a migrant student, so my migrant counselor began, talking about college. And I came across the EOP program. And having no idea what EOP was, I'm like, okay, you just kept insisting they're gonna help you apply. So after high school graduation, I came here to CSUMB, and you're pretty much gonna guess my age, but the campus was 3 years old when I came here. So it was fairly new, and it was a little bit uncomfortable for me. I felt like I didn't fit in. For me, for a Mexican girl from Castroville, with uneducated parents, it just felt like a place that was not for me. So I started getting in touch with the counselor for the EOP program here at CSUMB, and after a while I started feeling like this was my place. So I am very fortunate, I am very humbled and honored to now be with EOP. I officially began with EOP early January. I've been with the campus for a very long time. But for me to be working with students that I can relate to, that are first generation low income, it's a passion for me. So I hope that the information today helps you. And always feel free to reach out to the EOP program, to myself, or check out our website, it's always updated. But we'll start off with the video, and just for all of you to get a feeling of what EOP is all about.
My name is Ise. I'm a third-year psychology major with a minor in Spanish language and Hispanic culture. EOP has offered me a lot of space for me to grow, and it's really important for me because that's something I want to pursue in the future. I want to be an academic guidance counselor for high school students. I'm still not sure, but it has definitely given me the experience that I need, and it's given me a lot of support. Last year, food insecurity was kind of real for me, and it really helped me financially trying to get at least a meal in. So it's really helpful, and it's very supportive.
I really enjoy that because I feel like being here all alone, if I hadn't been in EOP, I feel like I would not have felt integrated into this campus. I feel like I've gained a lot of confidence in myself because EOP allowed me to get out of my comfort zone, especially now that I'm being a mentor. Before I was very shy, but especially during some weeks, as I was meeting people, having to introduce myself and everything like that, I feel that I was able to get out of my shell a lot more and really grow more as a person.
I met my roommate slash best friend slash sister from another mother through EOP. I definitely feel I've gained a lot of long-term relationships from EOP. Most of my inner circle here is from EOP. That's why Folk Summer Bridge is really important because they really are drilling me in all these school aspects, but also this is the period for the next 4 years. And definitely making those connections is great because it's hard to integrate into college when it comes to class because all you want to do is focus on work and this other stuff and not really branch out. So to definitely have that direct integration, already have those connections is really good. I feel so independent being here, living in your own space, being able to create able children to be here with yourself the way that you want to. And people being okay with that. I love how they were just open to everybody being different and whatever way they are. And it's just really good community.
So what is EOP? So we're actually celebrating 50 years of EOP, and it was established in 1969. And it targets students who have the potential to succeed and graduate from college, but have not been able to recognize this because of economic hardships or educational background. EOP provides admission, academic and financial assistance to accommodate the needs of our students. And this is done campus by campus. So you will find an EOP program in all of the CSUs, and of course, Monterey Bay being the best one. Yes. So what are the student resources for freshmen and transfer? For freshmen, we have a residential program. It's called Summer Bridge, and it's a 4-week program. So students get to move in before the semester begins, the fall semester, and they get to, live on the dorms. They take classes that actually get college credit for. There's a lot of academic support, there's tutoring, there's activities, kayaking, evening events, weekend events, a lot of fun, cool stuff for students to do. The cool thing about this, it's absolutely free. So students do not have to pay a penny for these services, for the boarding, for the food, for anything. For our transfers, we have a 1-day program, and when the transfers come to CSUMB, they get to touch base with the other resources and programs here at CSUMB. They fill out their contracts and get to know more about the program and the requirements for EOP. We have academic advising. So we have EOP EOP advisors that meet with our students. So students have the opportunity to have another advisor to meet on campus. So if for some reason they can't get in to see someone else, another department or their major advisor, they can come to us. And then we have peer mentorship, and I think this is a great thing because we have peer mentors, and they're current CSUMB students, and they relate to our EOP students. We have students who work for our program, who are community college transfers. We have students who started at first-time freshmen. So it's really an ideal way for our EOP students to connect with other CSUMB students that are going pretty much to the same things that they are. Financial assistance, yes, we do have the EOP grant, and this is again a case-by-case basis. And then job opportunities. So we, at the EOP office, we get to know and learn about the student positions that are available throughout campus. So we inform our students, and yesterday it was a very nice compliment that our office got, that our EOP students are amongst the most responsible and hardworking students that other campus departments have. So that's a great thing for us and for our students as well. Student associations and student leadership conferences. We do have an EOP club, which is made up of students, current EOP students, and connect with our incoming freshmen, with our transfers, and they like to put on events so that everybody can connect throughout the semester, and student leadership conferences every year. And these are at different CSUs. I know at CSUMB, EOP hosted 2 years ago. Who may apply? Low-income, first-generation students who are disadvantaged backgrounds could apply for our program. Students who demonstrate academic potential and motivation. California residents and EOP also will accept students who are AB 540 and the non-resident tuition exemption. EOP is a point of entry program, which means that once a student gets admitted to EOP, you're in EOP for life. So you're going to be part of the EOP family forever. There's no way you can get out. So there is an income criteria. This is it for the 2021 academic year. It is on our website, so if you want to go back and check the website, you will find this information there. This is not something that our office comes out with. This is coming from the Chancellor's office. So it's very, depending on the family size, if it's a dependent student or an independent student, this is the criteria. And then how do you apply for EOP? So if we have any high school seniors, juniors, would be juniors, who are going to be applying next fall, you will find the EOP application with the CalSTAT Apply application. So it's embedded in there. The only thing is that the student must select yes on the interested in EOP question. So that's very important, very crucial for students to do. If the student selects yes, then you'll get the quadrant for the entire EOP application, and the students complete that information. There is letters of recommendation that are required from students, and it's an actual form that gets mailed out to the recommender. So it's not just a letter that a student can go ask their teacher and write and submit. It's actually an official EOP form that the recommender needs to submit. And then, of course, the student must be a high school graduate or equivalent, meet the CSU eligibility for regular admission, and be a California resident. We do have special admins for EOP, and again, this is a campus-by-campus basis. So if you want to know more information about the special admins, feel free to contact our office and we could definitely discuss that. And then additional information on the EOP program can be found on the CalSTAT Apply site, the California State University site, and of course our CSUMB website with all the frequently asked questions. Feel free to call, feel free to stop by, we're there for you. And I know we're a little crunch on time, but I'll stick around if anybody has any questions. Again, I encourage everybody, all the transfer students, high school students to apply to our program. And best of luck to all of you. It's been an honor for me to be here today. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
So thank you again to Amy and also the ELP office and team all together. We have made it to hopefully a moment that you all are still excited about, which is the part 2 of our resource fair. So I want to make sure I give out some brief introductions so that way as folks depart to the lobby area, you know what you're looking for and you know some of the groups that will be out there. So if you're one of our groups who will be tabling, please feel free to return to your table so that way you can prepare for the resource fair. But out there we will have everyone from community organizations, we'll have several churches, we will also have our living learning program within student housing and residential life. We'll have Kevin Cahill who will be presenting and doing quite a few awesome and amazing photographs. So if you're looking for a professional headshot, we do have a professional photographer out there to assist and help, whether it's students, whether it's staff and or community members. All of this will be occurring in a very quick fashion so that way we can transition into our community portion, which will involve a lot of conversation. So if I can get folks to pay attention one brief moment, students in particular, please listen up so we can hear what is expected. Thank you. All right, I don't want to go into super student teacher mode, but we may. Clap once if you can hear me. All right, clap twice if you can hear me. All right, thank y'all. So one more piece of introduction, info, and everything for folks. Again, if you are a current student, if you are a faculty or staff member or a community member, once you finish up with the resource fair, please return back to this room so that way we can begin and engage in a conversation with fellow community members. If you are a prospective student or a student from the community, feel free to go to our student lounge or our lounge, which is also right next door, and there will be a student panel where folks from our current students will be able to speak and talk to you about their experience. And that will be moderated by our admissions counselors and some of the panelists over there. If you have any questions, come and find me. Otherwise, take a quick break and we'll see y'all in a few moments.
So we're going to go ahead and get started with our community forum. We want to begin by thanking you, and we honor you. We honor the land that we stand on. We acknowledge our elders. We acknowledge the people who paved the way for us to be here. When we walk, when we remember, we honor them. We come from a place of kindness and honor and respect. And so I am Dr. Vanessa Lopez-Hilton. I'm so honored to be here at this. This is my 3rd time being at Super Saturday. So yeah, it's working. And I love the message that we received today, and I hold it in a special place in my heart, and I hope that you do as well. And I'm excited to get started with the work that we have to do in working with the community. And so my colleague today, Stephen Goins, he's going to introduce himself. And so, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. All lives matter when? Black lives matter. All lives matter. All lives matter when? Black lives matter. All lives matter when? Black lives matter. Marvelous. Hello, everyone. So my name is Stephen Goins. My spiritual name is Quasar. And before I put on my CSUMB hat, I just want to put on my human being hat for a moment. I know there are people in the room who don't know me from Adam. There are also some people who care about me in the room. So I've been having some health challenges. I just want to say that God is good. All the time. And I'm an omni-faith person, so I believe that all religions are cultural expressions of spirituality. And Jesus is my Lord and Savior. And I had a fatal diagnosis 30 years ago, and I'm here today. And I know that every challenge that I have is another opportunity. So I'm just so pleased to be able to be here and to be saved to do the work that I care about. And the work that I care about the most is the connection, building connections, strengthening connections between the university and the Black community at large. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Let's see how I do this. You click. This is the third community forum that we've had, and we want you to know that we've been hard at work taking your ideas and trying to build some infrastructure. So I'm just going to take a little time to go through the infrastructure, and then Vanessa, Dr. Littleton, will lead us through a conversation. So we can click on the Black folks, the Monterey Black folks calendar, event calendar. So if you haven't seen, this is something I'm putting out every week. And let's just go through it, because I want you to see it. And the next one will come out Monday. So you see, here's our Super Saturday event. For those of you who know Darryl Chilkay, at 1 o'clock today, he's having a grand opening for his club, Deja Vu. And I think the first 100 people get a t-shirt or something like that. Just keep on flipping through. Tonight, there will be the Drifters here at CSUMB, so if you don't know that. I also have started the Historically Black Church Tour, where sometimes it's just 1 or 2 of us, but we wanted to grow. But we go to a different church, we slow down there, we go to a different church every Sunday. And so this Sunday we'll be at Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. And you'll notice there's a link there, and I have a bio of Pastor Jones there. Oh, we don't have to go to the bio. And then there's something about the Monterey Bay Black Folks event calendar. One thing I want you to know is if you have a chance, you can write down my email, either sgoings@csumb.edu, or you can use African Quasar, Quazar, if you are interested in subscribing to the calendar, or more importantly for the organizations here, right? This can serve as a bulletin board. So send me your events, and I will try to get them in the calendar. The deadline is Thursday at midnight for the Monday calendar that comes out at 9 a.m. And this is very specifically for CSUMB Black community and local Black community. So this is how we're going to have us really knowing what's going on with each other. Here I want to point out, so I had an article in the paper, so I put it in there. But we can also do spotlights. And is Paula in the room? Is Paula Carter in the room? Okay. Well, I want to let you know that, all of this obviously is her brainchild, right? And so the NAACP, we're having the 9th annual NAACP Black History Month event that is this Thursday at 7 o'clock from 7 to 8:30 in the Alumni Visitor Center here. And we will be introducing new Black staff and faculty to the community at large. And we have a number of people both in the community, like Alice Jordan, for instance, and Joe Watson, who passed last year, former president of the NAACP, that we'll be honoring. And among those people is Paula Carter. And so I'd like to give her a fantastic round of applause for all of her. Anything else on there? Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Also, I also keep going. I think that's it. New employees. Yes. Very important. So I don't know if you've noticed, but Kevin Coghill is out here taking pictures. We really want to do this. So part of this. I really believe that CSUMB needs to be more involved with revitalizing our communities, our Black communities, the history, archiving that history, and preserving that history. And so for those of you who came to the All Black Gala, we had a art and history digital art display, right? And so over the course of the next year, I would love it to be done by fall. We really want to collect pictures of our community leaders and our community organizations so that we can archive it, so that we can have it, so that when we're talking about Black history, which sometimes is just U.S. history, right, that we're talking about the local history, because this is a historic Black community. Most important Black community between Los Angeles and Oakland, right? And then maybe the last thing that I want to say is, with all of my heart, is we are diminishing in number. And part of this diminishing in number, going from nearly 30% to 8% in Seaside, we're down to what, 3%? I think 3 or 4% that we admitted as African American students last year. The NAACP College chapter, which I started 9 years ago, had to close. And the reason why it had to close is because we don't have the numbers to sustain an organization like that. And that is tragic. For many years I've been able to send a couple of students to the national convention, and that's an amazing opportunities for students. We really need to be together because we're in our little silos, and we can't make the changes that we need to make without coming together. So the last thing I'll mention is the Monterey Bay Town and Gown community meetings. So starting on March 23rd, we're going to have bi-monthly Black Town and Gown community meetings on a bi-monthly basis, toggling between CSUMB and a community place. Could be the Village Project, could be one of the churches, could be anything. The purpose of this is for us to have sustained relationship. And then can click through me. Let's see. So these are the dates. And Antonio, will you pass this around? So I've got, if you're interested in getting information about this, Antonio's going to pass around for NWSP, for the calendar, for the meetings, and you can just type in your name and your email, and that way we'll get it. So these are kind of when the meeting schedule will be. Next slide. I think so I know that there's some churches in the house, so I want to talk a little more about the historical Black church tour. So each semester for all your churches, so I've had some good engagement and some no one's responding to me. But each semester you're going to get, we're going to put out a schedule of when we're going to visit each church. And we're hoping that when we visit that your main pastor's in the pulpit. So if you already know, by the time I send it out, that they're not going to be, our request is that you send me an email and let me know when they are. We'll change the dates. And I run the Harambe African Heritage Men's Support Group on the campus, which was started by Mel Mason in 1999, and I was lucky enough to be able to revive it a few years ago. So for the male pastors, because it is an all-male space, for the male pastors that we visit on Sunday, we encourage you to visit us on Monday and meet with our African male students from 3:30 to 5 if you're available. And we invite you to share your major events, churches, in the Monterey Bay Black Folks calendar. Just send it to me. And if you already have CSUMB attendees at your church, you might consider asking them to be a liaison between CSUMB and your church, right? So maybe they're the folks who can send me the information, for the calendar. Or maybe we have a carpool when people are interested at CSUMB in going to your church. Maybe they can sign up for the carpool, so some engagement around that. And a few years ago, I started an interfaith fair here, and really what I was trying to get were the Black churches here. And Christian Memorial Tabernacle, I think, is the only one that, and she's waving, right? That came. But all sorts of other faiths came, and I want you to come. So when we send it out, we really hope that you'll find someone in your churches who can table. Next slide. I didn't finish that one. You didn't get there. So I just want to acknowledge at least a few, and I put more, but somehow it disappeared, so I'm just going to acknowledge these three people. I want to acknowledge some of the Black community leaders who were so instrumental to the early development of CSUMB getting here. Obviously, this is a very incomplete list, but Helen Rucker, Debbie Anthony, Fred Anderson in particular, and many others. Okay, whatever. And I think, so I think that's it for me, so thank you very much.
And so what we're doing is we're having community conversations to talk about how does CSUMB better work to support our students on campus, and how do we better work to strengthen the community. Stephen mentioned about the declining population in Seaside, and also at CSUMB we've been experiencing a decline in our students as well. Back in 2016, I think we had about 9% of our student population was African American. Now in 2020, we're down to about 4% of our enrollment. And so I didn't want to come in here today and just talk numbers with you, but at our next Town and Gown meeting, we will be talking about the numbers and looking at the data to see if we can identify trends and what is the to-do for us as the community, as faculty, as staff, or as concerned
residents of this community, but I do want to use the bulk of our time, not for us to talk to you, but for you to talk to us. We know what we know, but I think it's so much better when you have an opportunity to share with us. And so I've invited my colleague, Dr. Patricia McFadden, to come to help me be a scribe and to take some notes so that we can hear the things that you want to talk about and that you want to share with us. So I think the slide that I have is, where do we go from here? What would you like to see at CSUMB? What would you like to see us doing more of to support the Black community? And then how can CSUMB best engage the Black community? And then how can CSUMB best support Black students? So before I did that, Stephen, did you want me to go through that whole list of things that we've done? You guys know what we've been doing? Or you think we've been sitting around doing nothing? You might want to go over this. Well, Stephen made it, but the font is so small, and I have to put stuff on a slide and have people going like, what is that? Well, quite honestly, we've been doing a lot to bring African Americans to this campus and to have conversations. And so this list just talks about some of the more well-known speakers that we have, and this stops short of the ones that we've had this year. And so as we continue to develop this, we'll add additional names to the slide as well, because I think we had a very powerful speaker today. And I'm looking forward to not just the engagement that he did today, but the engagement in the long run. And so I think that his voice, his concern, and his willingness to work with us. So I'm very excited about that future opportunity. And so this just talks about some of the different things that we've done. We developed that standing African Heritage Town and Gown Committee, and that's a part of what we do to engage the student, staff, faculty with the local African Heritage community members. We are looking at trying to identify a permanent physical location on the campus to represent this relationship. We're not there yet, but we've begun to have that conversation. One of the first meetings we had last semester, we talked about this, and so we'll bring it back up on our agenda. Also developing an African Heritage Community Speakers Bureau. That's something that we started at a previous Super Saturday event, and so it's ongoing. And so that's the reason Stephen was saying it's so important for you to share your information with us, so that if you are a speaker and you do want to come on our campus for our faculty, for our classrooms, if we know about you, then we can help you get in front of our students in our classrooms. We've been collecting information for those bios and for the African Heritage Wall of Fame. We're supported by what's called the African American Heritage Faculty and Staff Alliance. We meet every month, and that's something that we do on campus to provide support for one another so that we can be stronger. And so, yeah, all that stuff. And I think Stephen mentioned like the bulk of that, so I won't reread it to you. So let's get to where you can engage with us around this. I think, Patricia, we were having a conversation about health and health outcomes, and living in a community that is, I don't remember what the percentage is, but African Americans are a relatively low percentage of the population in Marina and Monterey County. And so Patricia works at the Monterey County Health Department. And so a lot of the initiatives related to health equity target what population do you think? Latinos, right? And so what's going on and how much effort is being put into Black health outcomes and Black health equity? No. Who's asking these questions? And where are those conversations being had? Patricia, you want to add something? Hey, hang on.
So how we, as African Americans, are represented, the buzzword phrase is people of color. So they've adopted that phrase of people of color. And they did a countywide training that was about making sure we understand the disparate treatment of people of color. But every slide, none of the slides, and maybe 2 or 3, looked like me, sitting in the room with being the only person of color at that particular training. But that's how the county is presenting, and that was their civil rights office that was presenting the training that all of Monterey County had to take. And it was quite disheartening because the main people of color, which a term was coined by African Americans, were not represented.
So you make
me think about Ise when he talked about when we do something as Black folks, we tend to make space for other movements and other people to be a part of that. And something happens when we're not focusing on our own issues.
Yeah.
So is this something you guys want to talk about? Is health equity, health issues? Okay, so you write that down. So when I share this with people, I can say the community brought this to me. I didn't just make this stuff up. All right, so that was our brilliant ideas. What are you guys thinking? I know you got something.
Well, it's very important, the information that you're sharing with us today, because this community of Seaside, I would say, should be equally represented in the numbers that they represented 20 years ago. And somehow that declining number seems to be a mystery, and that's something we have to figure out, how to get the Black community more engaged, how to get Chicanos more to share some information, because they seem to be growing very fast, and the agents sitting right here need to help the Black community get more Black engaged here.
Thank you for that.
So one of the things that I see a lot of being in this community all my life, I was raised in Seaside, they shame us out of speaking up for ourselves. They make us feel very uncomfortable about speaking up for ourselves. And they force the inclusion of colored people to eliminate us. And they use us to do that. So I think it's very important to keep circling around and keep identifying issues, be it in the health that's affecting our community, among us, and keep teaching our children. Sometimes it feels like I'm the only mom, so I know I'm not, in Seaside that's raising my children to be Black and proud. And that's raising my children to understand their identity they shouldn't be ashamed of it. We have number 45 in the House that's helping us to support and go along with all the issues that's going to eventually eliminate us. And we need to be very careful what those issues are, because they're subtle, they're secret, and they come together in their communities, but we don't come together in our communities. I just want to say that we are being ashamed out of identifying who we are and what our needs are.
I think you got an amen going on there. On that table.
More like I'm bringing out, because I would say that the problems, the plagues that we face as a people are a lot, they're like a web, so we can't necessarily pinpoint one and think that that's just going to trickle effect out. There's so many systematically that have kept us where we are and continue to put us in positions like we are in these areas. Gentrification, redlining, all those things were fundamental practices that now we're like, well, where's the solution at? Well, we have to solve these problems first, and there's no real order, I'd say, but we can certainly start with identification of who we are. We like it's just said, we're always included in colored people or people of color, and the fact is that we're actually a very unique people of color. We come from a very specific place, we have a very specific history that not every other people of color relate to. So it starts with identifying first who we are, what is our culture, because everything we cling to right now, it comes from something that we've had to either make up, and we see that it's been capitalized on by the people around us, and everybody profits except us. I find it crazy that we are the face, like my brother pointed out earlier in the slides, we're the face of so many movements, and we profit nothing from it.
But we co-sign.
Absolutely, that says you on point. I'm with you. Bring it out. And that to me is where we should start, is by seeking our actual history, seeking who we are, where we came from. I mean, what language did we speak before we had to learn English? Most people don't know. What were the practices, what were our holidays before we were following Christmas and Thanksgiving, which are actually detrimental to us? You know, we don't know that, but we put in a lot of money to these things and we don't profit anything back. We waste a lot of money, we waste a lot of time and effort because we put so much into someone else's culture and we're wondering why we're sitting at the bottom. It was very easy. We gotta now come out of their culture and rediscover ours. This is the only way we're going to be able to have ground to stand on.
You made me think about a conversation I had with the Seaside Police Chief Prejudice this past week, where he told me that even though African Americans represent less than 10% of the population, we're disproportionately stopped, we're disproportionately arrested. And as an African American police chief, he really wants to address this, and so he's asking questions. And so you have a police chief who's really supported sort of working and addressing these issues. So.
I just wanted to comment on the fact that Dr. McFadden was sharing that the county presented the health equity under people of color. And I'm wondering if, maybe, because it does, I think someone else said that sometimes you get put in a pot with, a lot of different people, of maybe not demanding, but requesting that, because we are individual people, and it might be a start to, because you do lose your identity, I think, if you're put into a pot. Not that we're all God's children and love us equally, but I'm just saying when we're talking about health equity and just equity in general, being able to identify as who we are singularly versus just a general label of people of color might be a good starting point.
Thank you. I'm always looking for what can I do. And so I think one of the things that I know that I can do with my sister, Dr. McFadden, is that we can have a Black Equity Health Town Hall. Yeah. We can have this conversation. We can do that on this campus.
So I just want to go back to silos that we have to break. We have to come out of the silos because everything that we're talking about makes absolute sense. However, we have to understand that it's all of us or none of us. We have to do this together. For example, no shade, Stephen. Last year we talked about the calendar, having the community calendar, having a committee. I volunteered. I didn't even know we had a calendar happening. And over the years, I've worn several hats. And so I can be very intricate in piecing this together. And so this actually segues right into my next comment, is that we have to engage the Black alumni. We have Black alumni here. We have a large population of alumni that have no clue and no connection anymore to the university. I went to the 25-year celebration. We weren't identified on the panel. Nowhere. And I came specifically to see some of, my professors. I was in the graduating class number 7, so I'm up there. And we had no space in that whole celebration. So how do you think I felt? Sitting there kind of like shrinking in my seat, like, wait a minute, we were here. We're here, we are here. So I think that we have to not work against each other, but work with each other. In other words, if there's an event happening, we all come together on that event. Let's stop clashing and that goes back to the calendar, right? I'm bringing a full circle here. Conflicting events, if we are together, we can eliminate conflicting events, and we have to get away from the time thing, like, well, we gotta have it. No, we can spread it out, and it's more effective, and it brings us, together. So that's it.
I love all these hands.
Thank you, Rosalind. So
So when we start building things and starting things, the word spreads. But it takes a while. And, I sent, just so everyone knows, that I sent the calendar to the Village Project, hoping that they would send stuff. And it just takes a while. But that's what's great about this, is when we engage, we find out who's missing and who's not learning and so forth and so on. So we keep doing it. It spreads the word. And just as I was able to put up the latest link here to put it in the PowerPoint, I want to tell our organizations like the Village Project, et cetera, I can send you the link and you can put it on your website, right? So this is definitely a building type of thing. So we want everyone to be, have as much access to this as possible. And then the other thing that I was going to mention in terms of the kind of questions that we're asking, something that I'm very interested in is building infrastructure. Well, two things: generational reciprocity. We've got civil rights era folks who are still with us, who know everything about how to make change without any of the modern tools that we have, right? And we have students who understand everything about social media, and there's a gap. And these students, could use some mentorship from veteran civil rights leaders. And some of our institutions, let's be honest, could really use someone stepping up their social media game, right? So, NWSP, advancement of colored people. So that's really important. The other thing is, I'll
circle back to him. I love him. I love him.
I just wanted to say that I'm a strong proponent of data. Data speaks, and we have a long legacy of individuals in the room and out of the room that have our history that we can document, and we can use that to our advantage. And I would clearly be in strong support of helping that movement, because even though we don't have the numbers that the Hispanic population does, we have history. Yeah. And because we have history and we have a strong tie to the peninsula, we can bring those numbers out and show why people need to come forward. But I think Black people don't come forward because they don't feel welcome. They don't feel like there's a space at the table. I serve in many components at Montana College, but one of them is at Umoja. And one of the things that's often says is if they don't have a seat at the table for you, bring your folding chair. And I say that we should bring our folding chairs to the table, but we need to bring our data with us. Because if we want to make a difference, if we want to be seen, if we want to be heard, if we want to be claimed, we need to bring documentation with us, because that's how they're going to see us moving forward. They hear a lot of talk, they see a lot of faces, but when they see data, clarity is saying something to them, it's sending a message.
Thank you so much.
Ted Black, CSU Youth Resource Center. My focus is the people that are not in here. They say strength is in numbers. So when you're talking about the African American community and you're talking about the numbers, we're so divided that we can't put anything together. But mostly it's our at-risk youth that are looked down on because they haven't accomplished certain goals in lives. And we don't have enough people reaching down and grabbing them young brothers and sisters up, telling them young brothers and sisters that, there's another way, there is hope. We're so caught up in our own worlds to where we're trying to get to the next level, and we're forgetting all those that are on the ground that are still, that have not even learned how to walk. So my thing with it is, we can accomplish things in our community, by creating policies, by showing the data, but we also can make huge movements and huge strides by putting on programs, putting on things that are directed solely toward our at-risk community. Because if we can bring those young people up and we can get those young people focused on what direction that they should go in, this nation will be way more powerful amongst the black folks. So that's what my thing is. My thing is at-risk youth, educating and promoting their ideas, getting them on board so that they can be the next strong generation as well as we are.
Thank you.
I think we should adopt a kid for a year and see how that'll go. Mentor a kid for a whole year. For volunteers to bring our kids to where they need to be.
Thank you.
Good morning. I truly believe that we need data, like Stephanie suggested, but I think we need a current database of what's occurring in today's time. Our history is very important, but each and every day, yesterday is history. And I am getting many complaints about the Seaside Local Health Department, who's refusing to serve African American patients. They're being turned away, they're being made to feel uncomfortable, they're being made to, they're labeled them as hostile because they're asking about their appointment time and just doing atrocious things, and it goes unanswered because there's no place to compile complaints. We have, in the Monterey Peninsula School District, several schools that repeatedly discriminate against African American students, but they're all treated as if they're isolated events, and they're not. It's coming from the same principal, the same school, but we don't come together, so nothing is being done. So it's very important that we here at CSUMB, as an alumni, I would really like to see a database of local issues, complaints, what's been done to remedy it, follow back with the results over a long-term period, even a short-term period, and get the job done. Someone suggested of adopting a youth for a year, which is an excellent suggestion. My heart is kind of heavy this morning because I was planning to bring a busload of youth today, but there were no youth present when the bus arrived. And it was very disheartening, even though emails were sent out, text messages were sent out. I even sent letters in the mail to the various faith-based organizations. Not one student, an NPC student who I personally knew, but not one younger student, because it's in the middle schools and grade schools that we need to reach our children, and not 11th and 12th grade. So it's very important that we continue to have this conversation, but not just the conversation, but set goals and timelines of accomplishing our goals. And one last thing is I would really like to have African American studies here on campus. There's not one class where the community can even come in and listen for the students' presentations or lectures or anything like that. There's no African American history being taught at all. So I would like to see that. Thank you.
I kind of shied away from that.
Yeah, I want to just to make that one point that Princess spoke on. It was a bus sitting in front of Greater Victory Church. All the churches, a lot of the community got notice about bringing, we was expecting 40 children to come. The community didn't move an inch. The bus was empty. And that's just a shame. Shame on the community. Thank you.
So concerning if there are African Americans going to any clinics that relate to the county health department, I suggest there's a civil rights department, huge civil rights office that people are asked to share their differences. It's for the community, it's not for the county employees. I know this because of my level of administration for public health. So they can call, I'll get that information. So any issue, and that's a number of things, so they will have to answer to that. By law, they have to address any complaints that they have with the clinics who are funded with government funding. If it's African American those issues you just mentioned, Princess, all of those. I'll get you the phone number, but it is a civil rights office for the county of Monterey.
So I just noticed a few things with a few of the folks that contributed. Sis was saying that she sees a pattern, a very clear pattern, correct? So with that in mind, that there is a pattern, that there's, you know, solid discrimination, there's this agenda, so to speak, against us, which would bring me to the next sister's point, is that we've historically and continuously brought the folding chair with the data, and I don't think that that's really the issue. We played that song, we've been there, I mean, how many times throughout histories? I think we should build a table. I mean, their table, we've brought data, we've brought complaints, we've come to their table how many times? I mean, we've been begging, marching. This is our history here in America, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. So after so many years, I feel like we've been conditioned to continue asking for permission. I'm tired of asking for permission, and I'm not saying that we got to raise up and go fighting. But we need our own table, because clearly they're not providing for our table. We don't have a space to speak. We don't have a space to be us. So the only place that that's going to be allowed and accepted is at our table. So my suggestion would be to build our table. And that starts with my brother back here's point, is reaching out to the youth and making sure that they're all making sure that they feel like they're a part of something. Again, provide them a table. Because we can't keep saying that to this table that doesn't care about them, that we're just repeating history. Build our table. Let's build our table with them. We got to get the youth involved. We got to make sure that they understand who they are, what our goal is, what our focuses are. These are all things that we need to start doing as a people, and we can't do that unless we understand ourselves as a unit, and again, bring it all to our table. Because they're not going to give us a table in our fold-out chair that we bring in. They done already kicked the legs out 2, 3, 4 times. Okay?
Just real quick, I want to agree with Teddy there, specifically when it comes to reaching out to the youth. I heard the disappointment of having, sending out stuff and hopefully reaching the heads that it needs to. But the truth of the matter is, as an educator, as a youth director, as a youth leader, as a youth whatever, it takes a lot more than that. Because if you send out a flyer and someone decides that's not something that they, are agreeing with or whatever, so the follow-through has to be there. I'm not knocking, I'm just saying it's just reality. The kids are out in the streets, you gotta go reach them, you gotta get them, you gotta grab them in. They're not the generation that, you just give them a flyer. You have to follow up and follow up and follow up again. And then again, I'm very big on saying we have to meet them where they are. Because a lot of times we've already kind of lived our lives and we've done things that we've done in our lives, but they're coming from a different perspective. And they are the generation of social media, and we've got to just really find a way to, on a consistent basis, reach out to them. I invited them once, so if they didn't show up, oh well. That's not quite going to work. So and the other thing I just wanted to say was, it's really great. We were talking about this earlier on the way here, to have the ideas, but it takes work to get it done. I think sometimes being specific and who's going to be doing what and what they can do to participate and help that process is very important too, because we all have great ideas and they're necessary. But in order to implement them, we have to be very specific and very intentional with how we plan to get it done. So that's all.
So thank you. I'll make one quick comment. I put the dates back up there for the town and gown meetings to let you know, if you guys want to meet up and talk about these ideas and how to bring them to fruition, let's do that. Show up on March the 23rd, and we can talk about how do we do this? What do we need to do? We have people who are committed from this university and from the community who are participating in these meetings and having these conversations. And so if you're committed to doing that and you want to be a part of the solution, then I say show up and let's get busy. I say yes to all of that, especially my brother over there. He's a black man, and I love it when you come from a place of just like grappling with what's happening in society and not focused on yourself as an individual, but thinking about us as a collective. elected, because I think it is that type of mentality that will only move us forward. And if we don't look out for one another, guess what? No one else will. They're taking advantage of us as far as it comes to economics. They're, using Beyonce and Colin Kaepernick and all these other folks, and guess what? They're the ones that are making the money. How do we get that? How do we leverage those opportunities to make it better for Black folks? And that's where I am on this campus. So I'm hoping that you'll show up on March the 23rd and meet me out there to have these conversations. I want an applause, man.
Thank you. I just want to say, I'm Miriam said, and I'm more than willing to work with people in the community. I've been working in this community pretty much all my life, and sometimes it feels like you're kind of a little alone. However, I wanted to address the chief of police and what she said, and we need to, and another issue, and we need to get behind what this chief is doing, because just quiet as it's kept, nothing is going to matter if we allow the community to keep picking on this chief. I just want to whisper that in your ear. We were quiet as it's kept while we playing. We need to stop them from picking on them. And whenever they have a SWAT team come all the way from Salinas and go to the seaside residence because of some kind of drug house that he could have handled himself, okay? But it's all about health there too, okay? And, we need to be on our P's and Q's and down there at the city hall speaking up and saying something for the right things, And this is our community, so we can come from any place in our community. Also, I want to address that in 2015, I think Quasar can attest to this. I did a Black Lives Matter event, and it was one of the largest and first one in the city of Seaside. All kinds of people showed up, but we didn't have a lot of our leaders there. But we did have a few people from NAACP, and I think the fact is that we're scared. We're scared, we're ashamed, and we won't address issues that matter in our community because we single folks out. I got involved, I tried to get involved with the NAACP because Mel Mason keeps telling me, go. And every time I go, so the last time I went a couple of months ago, the man said, oh, you're the president now. I'm going to say the name, I don't remember his name, I don't want to. But the president now said, oh, you're the one that did the Black Lives Matter and caused so much problem in our community. We're still trying to clean it up. How dare? How dare? So we need to work together. We need to work together. How do I get blamed for doing a Black Lives Matter and causing a problem in the community? That's our mindset. We need to work together. We shouldn't be standing alone, and we shouldn't be accusing folks, because we should have joined in there at that heightened time and made some changes in our community.
So I know we're over time, and we want to, you got one more comment? Yeah. Okay. So is there one more burning comment? Okay. Is it burning?
Tag team.
Is it burning? Is it burning? Okay.
And it's quick.
Okay.
And it's quick. I just wanted to piggyback on what Princess said about meeting our young people where they are, and that is so important. We have to get out of the mindset of, oh, well, they're not coming. No, we need to go and get them because we have to understand this generation. They are not who we were. They're not who our elders were, so we have to bridge those gaps. We have to understand that their influence is a lot larger than ours was. They have global influence. So one thing happens, it's global. And we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, there's this Blue Zone project. It's an idea about healthy living. And I read an article recently that the city of Monterey has been identified, and why couldn't that be a peninsula-wide aspect instead of it being one single community who has a higher affluency, access to more healthier doctors and other aspects. So it does affect communities that are less affluent.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's a great point. So thank you guys for a wonderful performance. I hope to see you on the March 23rd so we can continue this conversation.
And thank you everyone for coming. Hopefully everyone enjoyed today. We're just going to do a couple other things. One is for the students, we do have a campus tour that we want to take you on as soon as I dismiss. And for the other ones, how many of you have your other half of your blue ticket. All right, so thank you everyone for coming. As Vanessa said earlier, if you're in the community, please come to one of our meetings on the 23rd, and we can continue to discuss and explore and implement some ideas. If you're a student or if you just want to go on a campus tour, Matthew, wave your hand. So if you want to go on a campus tour, he will direct you to where the campus tour